If you can draw this, you can draw anything.
But it's just a box?
Hang on, let me stop you right there. This is not just a box. I mean, technically it is, but this is also your starting point to construct and draw anything you can imagine.
But how? Would you care to explain?
Well, of course. Let's start by talking about perspective, because this box is drawn in perspective, and in doing so, I have established some vanishing points and also a horizon line, which is our eye level as we look at this box. Sometimes we start with all of this and then draw the cube, but no matter the order, we will always have vanishing points and a horizon line when drawing in a three-dimensional space, or at least giving that illusion.
Why do we call it three-dimensional space?
Because when drawing this cube, we are dealing with 3 dimensions, typically referred to as X, Y, and Z. If you've ever used a 3D modeling software like Blender, you'll be familiar with this.
Do I really need to understand perspective to draw this?
Well, it certainly won't hurt. Take your brother Boxman for example. Once he had a basic understanding of perspective, he was a lot better at drawing convincing spaces.
Why is the cube see-through?
I've drawn through this box so that you can see all of its edges and faces. It's essentially a wireframe, and that's very important because within this wireframe we are able to construct other more interesting shapes. In fact, let me show you. Grab some paper and some pencils and follow along with this. We can find the centre of this face and the halfway point in perspective by dividing this up like so. Because I've drawn through this box, I can also do the same for this plane at the back. I'll connect these lines up and I've now drawn an intersecting plane across the middle. The same can be done in the other direction. I can simply cut out a quarter of this box now, and again, it's very easy to do this. Let's come to this side and draw a line further down. Again, connect these corners up, and now we've angled down the top of this.
But what is it?
Well, that's really up to you as the artist, right? This was a nice warm-up, but now let's look at another example. You see, these boxes don't only have to be cubes. Instead, we can make them any size we want. If you have an idea of what it is you want to draw, then you can probably think of the best size for your box. Here, I'll show you how to draw this medieval church.
There is no way I can draw that.
We need to start by constructing a longer rectangular box. This is our eye level, and we need 2 vanishing points to draw our box in 2 points perspective. Here I'll place them at either side like so. This is all you need to easily construct a box like this. Once I have a rectangular box drawn out, I do what I did before and divide up this front and back plane. This allows me to create that central dividing plane. Now I can connect up these corners and I've created a pitched roof. For the church tower, I'll draw another box at the front. I'll start with the bottom plane and then extend this up. Again, continue to draw through these boxes. For the roof of this tower, divide up the top plane to find the centre and extend a line upwards. And from the top of this, connect some lines back to the corners of this box. And now we have a very simple construction for this church, what I often refer to as blocking this out.
Wow. Okay, but is it really that easy?
Well, yeah, in doing this, we've accurately placed the building in perspective. Now it's a case of adding some detail, like windows and doors, although remember that you must consider the position of these vanishing points and have your lines directed to them. Before we move on, let me show you a useful technique for equally dividing up planes in perspective. From the front corner of this side plane, draw a horizontal line outwards like so. Extend this line in perspective until it meets that line. Now this horizontal line is the true length of that side plane, which appears shorter in perspective. This is useful because now I can divide up this line however I'd like and project those divisions back to that side plane. So if I want to draw 3 windows on the side of this church, I need to divide this up into 7 equal sections. Now extend some lines from these points back to the vanishing point. Where these lines intersect the side plane is where I then draw my vertical dividing lines. I'll draw in those windows as well, which are now accurately sized in perspective. Just continue to repeat what we have looked at to develop this drawing further.
Okay, but I don't want to draw a church. What if I want to draw something like a sports car?
I've drawn plenty of vehicles over the years, and I still approach it the same way. No matter what I'm drawing, I start by blocking it out with boxes in perspective.
So drawing boxes in perspective is an important skill to learn. But what if I want to draw something round, like a cylinder?
Would it surprise you if I said that the best way to draw a cylinder in perspective is to also start with a box? For example, when drawing a circle, it's best to do this within a square. This is because circles in perspective are actually ellipses, and these can be tricky to draw. It helps to start with a square plane and then divide this up like this so that it becomes a guide for drawing in your ellipse. To turn this into a cylinder, it's simply a case of extruding this plane and drawing an ellipse at the other end, and we can now connect these up. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you've likely seen me start a drawing by constructing a series of boxes and blocking out the subject. It's the best way to accurately place an object in perspective before adding any details.
It all starts with a box.
Yeah, I guess it does. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.